Okay. Good morning, artists. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Nice long weekend, 3 days. This week we begin our new projects. It's week 6. It's going to be our character design project. On the screen right now, I have our packet that you should have received for this week. It is a 1 week packet. We're going to quickly run through it just so you guys kind of understand what you need to do for this week. So for this week's project, you guys will be creating your own original characters. This means you're creating a character of your own design and to create a character that is unique to you. You are not drawing someone else's character. Painting students, you will need to paint your final character design. Use the paper provided in the packet to plan your painting out before you go and use painting paper and paints to make your final piece. Drawing students, you use the paper provided to draw your original character on. If you want to sketch your character out beforehand or put them on a separate, different piece of paper, that's fine as well. Just make sure you write down who that character is and everything that goes along with this project on top of that. Make sure you read all the notes and information that is provided in the packets and that's inside of your guys' project outline. And just make sure you have fun with this project. Remember that the best way to submit work is online. We're trying to limit the exposure to COVID as much as possible. So if you guys are able to turn in work to my email or you can text it in, or if you've joined the Remind app, that's great. If you haven't joined the Remind app, here are the links right here. Painting students will use this code and drawing students will use this code. In your packets this week, you've also been provided with a few different art vocabulary terms. This is your notes. I want you to keep your notes. Go ahead and run through them. Make sure you understand the meaning of each of these words. And we will be having vocabulary quizzes and tests in the future. So make sure that you are understanding what each of these terms means. And then finally, where you will be creating your own character. All classes are doing this. Like I said, painting students, you will be painting your final pieces, and drawing students, you will be drawing yours. It's worth 20 points. And the next few pages, they're going to basically lay out what you need to do for this project. Creating your own character does help to reinforce the importance of symbolism and expression in your art, and it helps to push you to find ways to incorporate your character's personality and story into their design. So just try to be as creative as you can and as unique as you can, and find ways to express or convey certain attitudes about your character into your drawing. As we move forward with our class and future projects, this will really help you a lot in just creating your own style and being as unique as you can be. This will be your character project outline. I want you guys to make sure you're always focusing on what you're doing. And there's always a lot of good information, background knowledge, what materials you'll need. Due dates are always written inside of your packets in the project outline. So it's important that you guys read through this and understand it. In your packet, you'll also have a character description that's worth 20 or that's worth 10 points. I'm sorry. Um, and just for an example, you could tell me about your character, their likes and their dislikes, where are they from, what time period maybe. Is your character even human? Are they a cyborg? Are they some kind of animal hybrid creature? It's all really up to you. What do they look like? Do they have a backstory? Just get creative and tell me about your character. You can be as creative or detailed as you'd like to be. And then finally, this will be the space where you can draw your character unless you opt to use a different paper. This will be for my drawers. Your final project can be done on this paper. For my painters, you can use this to plan and sketch out. There is no required sketch for this project, but if you prefer to have a area where you can plan and sketch out your character first, this is where you can do that. And then you will use this to kind of give yourself an idea of what you want to do before you start to paint on painting paper. And that is basically what we're doing for this week. So this is what's expected from you in your packet. Really quickly, I want to show you guys a video about um, character design. It's a quick video posted by this page on YouTube. It's Love to Draw Manga, but this works for all character designs, not specifically manga. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and you guys just watch through it, take notes, and hopefully this can help inspire you in your character design.
Hello everyone, in this week's video, I'm going to be giving some tips for designing your own characters. While I'm talking, you'll be watching me design some characters for a project I'm working on. So let's get started. Before I start talking about the tips, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm working on. So each month I make an illustration for my patrons on Patreon. This month I'm going to try using Illustrator instead of Clip Studio. Since I'll be using Illustrator, I wanted to design some very simple characters for the illustration. I tried my best to use very simple shapes in their design. So yeah, they're these two little characters, and I decided that they are sisters and they kind of have opposite personalities. So now let's go to the tips. Try multiple designs. You never know what you'll come up with. When creating characters, it can be good to try multiple designs, playing around with things like the hair, eye shape, clothing, and so on. As you keep designing and fine-tuning, you may get new ideas that you wouldn't have thought of before. However, don't feel bad if you decide you like your first design the best. I often go with my first design because for some reason it's often the one I like the most. What is this character for? In what medium will they be appearing? Is the character for a comic/manga, an animation, or video game? This can affect how you design your character. Like if your character is for a manga that is printed in black and white, you may want to focus on what the design looks like, not colored. Or if it is for an animation, you may want to simplify things since you'll be drawing the character a lot. However, if the character is for a short project or illustration and you won't be drawing them a lot, you may be able to make their design more intricate. My characters are for an illustration with a simple style, so I try to keep them very simple. If you're going to be drawing this character a lot, it can help to make their design not too complicated. This kind of goes along with the last tip, but I really wanted to emphasize on this. If you're going to be drawing the character in a comic or manga, you may not want to include too many details in their design, or if you do add details, make them simple to draw. I remember I was reading a manga, I don't really remember which one, but it had super complicated school uniform designs for the characters, and in one of the behind the scene pages, the manga artist was talking about how they wish they didn't make the design for the school uniform so complicated because it takes a lot of extra time adding all those little details. If you want to make a comic or manga with really intricate character designs, I'm not going to stop you. You have to do what you want to do, but just make sure to remember that it will take more time. Where does this character live? Deciding where a character lives can have a really big impact on their design. Do they live in modern-day California, or do they live in England during the 1800s? Let's say I have two characters, one that lives in a cold region and one that lives in a warm region. Because these characters live in different climates, they would wear very different clothes. It may also affect their color scheme. Like the cold region character, I would pick cooler colors like blue, and for the character in the warmer region, I would pick warmer colors like red. Of course, you don't have to limit the color scheme to where the character lives, but it can help the viewers better understand the theme of the character. My characters are elves that live in a small village. I wanted their clothes to not be super flashy and have kind of a fantasy look to them. Draw inspiration from real life. Do research. Drawing inspiration from real life can be very helpful, especially when designing clothing. Like if you have a character that lives in a different time period, it may be helpful to research what people wore during that time period. I have a character named Alfred. He lives in England during like the 1700s or something. So I often have to look up references for his clothing. Conveying personality. When designing characters, I often like to convey the character's personality through their design. It can help the viewer quickly and easily understand the character. Here are a few ways I portray a character's personality through their design. Shapes. Including certain shapes into a design can really change how a character appears. For friendly characters, I like to use more circle-like shapes. However, for intimidating characters, I like to use more pointed shapes like triangles. The first girl I'm designing is timid and sweet, so I include more rounded shapes in her design. The second girl is more outgoing and spunky, so I include more sharp shapes in her design. Eye shapes. The shape of a character's eyes can really change their look. There are so many different eye shapes, but here are the most common ones I use. For happy characters, I tend to have the eyes be circular. For shy characters, I kind of have a hill like shape. It's kind of hard to describe. It kind of curves up and then curves down a bunch. And for characters that are serious, mean, or mischievous, I'll give a more pointed eye shape. These eye shapes can also be applied to many other personalities, but these are kind of the most common ones they're used for. Like for the first girl I am designing, I gave her the shy eye shape and made her irises very round. And for the second girl, I made her eyelashes more prominent and pointed, and I also made her irises a square shape. Color scheme. Color scheme can also help portray a character's personality. If a character is loud and lively, you may want to pick colors that are very vibrant. However, if a character is timid, you may want to pick soft colors. And if a character is bad or edgy, you may want to pick dark colors. For my characters, I wanted the color schemes to be similar, but still show their personality. Blue is considered calm, so I made the first girl have mostly blue in her color scheme. Orange is often considered livelier, so I made the second girl's outfit mostly orange. Clothing. Clothing can really help portray a character's personality. Like a character wearing a leather jacket and ripped up jeans will give off a very different feeling compared to a character wearing a pastel dress. This is often how I try to portray a character's personality in their design. However, it can be interesting to have a character's design and their personality not match. Like have a very friendly and shy looking character, but they are actually kind of rude and make snarky comments. Or have a very tough and intimidating character, but they are actually very friendly and timid. Try to keep the color scheme of the character simple. When I design characters, I like to try to keep the color scheme very simple. Using too much color can confuse the viewer and it can make the character feel really busy. Using only a few colors can make the character more recognizable and make them feel more cohesive. It also makes them easier to color. Props and accessories. Giving your character certain props or accessories can help make them interesting. Like maybe your character is always wearing headphones, or maybe they have a bracelet they always wear because it's special to them. Create a character turnaround. Now, this one isn't totally necessary, but it can be very helpful. A character turnaround is when you draw a character from different views, most often front, side, and back. This can be a really helpful reference and can help you get an idea of how the character, their hair, and their clothing appear in different views. It can also help you see if you can draw the different elements of the characters from different views. So those are all the tips I have for now. I hope they're helpful. And these are my two finished little characters. I had so much fun drawing them and I really like how they turned out. I still need to name them though, so if you have any suggestions for their names, feel free to leave a comment. Before I end this video, I want to say thank you so
All right, so that was just a real quick kind of run through of what I sort of expect you guys to show me in your projects. I want you to just be unique and have fun with this, create a unique character just to you, and see what you come up with. So, to move on, we are going to now look at our bell work for this week. I want you guys to tell me who is your favorite character from a show, a story, a comic. You decide. And why does that character stand out to you? Is it their personality? Is it their style, their design, their clothing, the era that they're from? What makes this character your favorite? Remember, guys, to try to keep your responses school appropriate. I have had some students turn in some work that is not entirely school appropriate, so we want to make sure that we aren't crossing the line. Um, Go ahead and you can email me your responses. You can write them on the back of your projects. Any of that is fine. Your bell works are due on Fridays. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a good week. And if you have any questions, remember to contact me. Um, Good luck with your project.